Hey everybody, and welcome back to Investment Honey, where we talk about various crypto projects. Before we begin, as always, I'm not your financial advisor, and we never ever provide investment advice on this channel ever. So with that being said, if you're somebody new, thanks so much for joining the channel, joining the series. Not sure where you came from, but we're glad to have you. And if you're somebody that's been with us along the way, somewhere along the way or from the very beginning, again, thank you so much for your continued support, not only of the channel, but of the series as well. So nothing to really review. We're going to go ahead and talk about the NFL token real quick, and then we're going to go into discovery mode. So stay tuned for that. But with that being said, so the chart doesn't really look a lot different, from yesterday. But what I do want to point out is that yesterday the market cap was higher. I did say typically with a lot of these tokens, what's going to happen is that they'll go up and they'll come back down. So obviously we found this one pretty early. We saw this one at 179, and then we updated this one yesterday at 216, right? So initially from that 179, this one went all the way up, to just over 400K. And then we updated it yesterday around that what did I say? It was 216. So 216. And then obviously now what are we sitting at? We're sitting at 86K. So again, we don't always talk about the fact, that, when they set the alerts, they come back down. I don't always come back in and be like, hey, I was right, it came back down. But the reason why I'm highlighting this one is because, again, we got the Super Bowl coming up in about a week. And, so this one continues to be one that I think that we should probably keep an eye on, just because, again, it's going to go 50-50, right? 50-50, it could go up, or it could go ahead and, stay down, in these levels, or it could retrace even further, so I'm inclined to believe that this is likely going to, stay at these bottom levels, 86K. It's probably going to retrace even further, because I'm not really seeing that, we're not going to really get much of a catalyst, as far as moving the chart forward and the market cap, up. So, and right now, even on the minuses on the 6 hour and the 24 hour, we're at minus 37 on the 6 hour and minus 53%, on the 24 hour. Not terrible, but I think that once you start to go ahead and get into those minus 70 and 80% levels, then, that might be a concern, but we'll probably see more, NFL Super Bowl oriented tokens popping up, as we get closer, to the Super Bowl. But with that said, this one should be interesting. If the community, continues to go ahead and stay with this one, let's say that the team continues to try to go ahead and do some things to keep it fresh, in the eyes, of people that are kind of still scouring the blockchain, looking for new tokens to go ahead and jump into. This one still has a chance to, stay relevant, but like I said, when you got these event tokens that start out like, 2 weeks before the actual event, it's almost, it's a pattern that seems pretty consistent from what I've seen, that they'll go ahead and they'll get a boost, they'll head up, they'll go on a run, and then they just kind of flatline for a little bit. And some of these tokens come back roaring back out of nowhere, and other ones, just go ahead and die. But a lot of times that comes down to the community and the team and what they're putting into it to try to go ahead and keep the token alive. So, but I set we set the alert, yesterday, the 216, alert me when it goes over 300. What we're going to do now is we're going to adjust this. So, because obviously yesterday the market cap was higher, right? But it's lower today. So I'm going to update the market cap here again to reflect the current new market cap, which is 86K. And then we're going to want to be alerted if this goes over 100K. So if it goes over 100K, that might be an indicator that something's about to happen on the chart in terms of upward movement. Now, it doesn't guarantee that at all, guys. But what I am saying is we set the alerts as indicators, so that, we can have Dexscreener go ahead and watch it for us and let us know if there's activity coming back to it. So we don't necessarily have to babysit the chart, which obviously nobody likes doing that anyway. I know that I am certainly not a fan, and I like the tools that can sit there and watch the chart for me, and while I can go ahead and get other things done. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move out of this one, but just wanted to bring this one back to the forefront today before we move into discovery mode. So moving into discovery mode, we got all kinds of tokens here. As far as the main view here, I've got my age, my time frames and market cap. That's typically what I want to see in terms of information. And we're going to head straight into the filters. Now, yesterday we covered, all, the 3 chains, Solana, Base, and Ethereum. We're not going to look at all 3 today. We're going to go ahead and stick with Solana today and see what we can find. So let's see here. Liquidity, obviously, we're not going to go ahead and do anything there. We're going to check off Radium here as far as the DEX is concerned, and on market cap, we're going to go straight to our 50,000, and we're going to go to 150. Okay, and let's see what we get. So on the pair age, we're going to go ahead and, we'll stay new, and relevant, so let's go to 1 hour to, I don't know, 50 hours. Let's see what we got going on there. And then on the 24-hour change, we're going to go ahead and start out with a minimum. Well, as always, the minimum change, is just 10%. Now, I did cover this some days ago, that if you don't put the 10% in here, you're going to go ahead and get those minuses. And we talked about, how you can go ahead and target, more with a fine-tooth comb in terms of, some tokens that, aren't necessarily that 10% minimum, but maybe they're closer to a 20 or 30% on the negative, but so they're showing some life, they're coming back up, but I talked about that a little bit ago. I don't remember which video it was, but I think it was sometime this week, so if you want to go ahead and check out some of the other videos, but and there'll be times, when I talk more about the filters here and other things you can do, but that's just going to vary. It's not something I plan. It's just if it's in the flow of the conversation, I may go ahead and bring it up, so that's why I encourage you guys always to make sure you watch more of the video, because you never know when I'm going to talk about information regarding additional things you can do with the filters, or just dropping some additional information that may be helpful in terms of your overall searching that you're doing on the blockchain through Dexscreener, and so forth, and maybe even stuff that you're doing in the channels as you're making evaluations and assessments on what tokens you want to actually target. So I'm going to click apply here, and remember, you can always use this main screen to go ahead and help you filter out what you want to look at, because you can already see right here, and this is the reason why I also like keeping these time frames, because you can see right away this is a dead token. Like, there's nothing going on the 5 minute, the 1 hour, or the 6 hour. Why on earth would we want to take a look at this? Same thing here, but we can also see that we've got this box here with a question mark. And what does that typically tell us? Typically it tells us this is probably not a token we want to look at, because a lot of these tend to be scams. Not always, but a lot of times they are. So, but there are always outliers, as I've mentioned before. So, so we typically stay away from these with the box and the question mark. Okay, so with that being said, we've already gone ahead and checked off our 24-hour, column here to make sure we're looking at the tokens that have the highest amount of gain, in that 24-hour column. Okay, now we're just going to go ahead and start, opening some stuff up and seeing what's going on today in the land of crypto. Now, I've looked at some stuff, today, just trying to get a sense of what's going on, the blockchain, and it is a red day, folks, a red day for sure. So I don't know what we're going to find, but I just know that across the board, when you got a lot of the blue chips that are down, that typically always affects the altcoins, so it's not looking like a great day, for trading, but again, either way, there's always outliers, right? So it's like saying that in a bear market, you're never going to find any opportunities to make money. And that doesn't make any sense, because even for right now, I think that there are instances where we still see elements of a bear market, even though we're typically we're as most people would say, we're in a bull run right now. But you're still going to have down days like today, where everything across the board is just red. So, all right, but either way, let's go ahead and let's start taking a look at some of this stuff. And remember, in our scanning, we want to go ahead and do this quickly. We want to go ahead and make sure the charts look okay. We want to make sure that we get that Telegram link as well. So for this one, which is, I'm not even sure how you say it, we're going to go with Pain Coin. I'm probably sure I'm saying that wrong, but whatever. Okay, but we're going to keep this one. And here we've got Patrick. Everybody's familiar with Patrick, Patrick Star, SpongeBob. So either way, this one looks okay. We got a Telegram, so we'll keep it. This one, Robin Trump, so there's a lot going on with the Robin theme lately, because I guess they launched their own meme coin. Okay, so yesterday, what was it? It was Robin Hood, remember the chill guy? So you saw that there was basically the same kind of character, with the sweater on, and it was Robin and then the hood, right? So, so we've seen a lot of that yesterday. I think we're still getting some residuals of that today. This one, chart doesn't look that great, but it's not awful. Okay, but we do get a Telegram. We'll go and we'll keep it. Gang here, we're gonna go to 15 just so we can see a bit more of the chart. It doesn't look terrible. We get a Telegram, so we'll keep it. Daily Mail, I've seen this one popping up, lately. So, but we don't get a Telegram, so we're gonna get rid of this one. We see trenches here. What's this? Is this just the Trump family? Yeah, so kind of the Trump family. But either way, we don't get a Telegram, so we're not going to mess with this one. And then just hold. We get a Telegram. We're going to go out to the 15 minutes, see more of the chart. This one looks okay, so we'll keep it. And we're going to adjust our filters, just like we talked about yesterday. When you go ahead and you go into the filters and you put in your data, okay, your parameters, and let's say that you don't really get a lot, you always have the ability, which is great about Dexscreener. You go back in, you adjust some filters, and then you see what else it produces for you. Now, for anybody that's new, if I'm speaking kind of fast, sometimes I go ahead and do that. Just make sure you go back and review the material, in the video as much as you need to in order to keep up with me in terms of what I'm doing. Now, with that being said, we're not going to mess with the pair age. We're going to go ahead and just adjust the market cap here. So we're going to go to 151 since 150 was our max on the last set of searches. Okay, and then we're going to go out to 300. All right. Now, typically I don't go beyond 500,000, for what we're doing here. I'm just making you aware of it, especially if you're not somebody that's familiar with what we've done here in this series. But anybody else that's been here following the series for any amount of time, knows that we typically cap out, at 500,000, regardless of the chain that we're looking at, unless we're looking at the main screen. If we're looking at the main screen and everything's unfiltered, there's going to be tokens out there. It's going to be in the hundreds of millions now. We may look at it, but typically we're not going to be setting any alerts, for that. So for this one, they got a 1000x boost. Binance, we'll take a look at that one. Sell money spread. I saw this one the other day, and I actually opened up the wrong one because Dexscreener tends to update on its own, so it can move stuff around on you. Fart day, we're not. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll tell you what, we'll look at it anyway, since apparently the 5th is National Fart Day. I did not know that. Let's see here, and then we'll take a look at this one too. So let's see here. Here we are. Now, looking at this one, chart doesn't look too terrible. They do have a Telegram. We'll see if it retraces any further from here. So we'll circle back around. If it does, then I'm not going to go and worry about it. All right, and then Binance, this one doesn't look terrible. They got a Telegram, okay. And this one doesn't look awful either. They got a Telegram. We'll keep it. Fart day. This one, not terrible. Let's look at the 5 minute. Yep, not bad. And they got a Telegram as well. And then this one here, let's go to the 5 minutes, see what's going on there. I don't know. Let's see here. Kind of just trading sideways, but they got a Telegram. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's utility or what, but we'll keep it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start taking a look, at channels. Give me a moment, guys, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and check out channels now. But before we do that, just going to head into Telegram real quick and let you guys know. Made some calls yesterday, on a couple of pre-launches, So again, if you are not a member of the Crimson's Calls Telegram channel, make sure that you do check that out, because again, I don't call every day on this channel, but I do put calls on here that are not covered on the YouTube channel. So if you're looking for additional stuff to, look at, possibly engage with, again, keep in mind that, there are calls being made here that's different from YouTube and different from the X channel as well. So I do leave the link, for this channel, in the description. Make sure you go ahead and check that out, because again, you're not going to know what I'm calling out here just based on your interaction, with the channel through YouTube. So the only way to know what's going on in my Telegram, channel through Crimson's Calls is to make sure that you are a subscriber there. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and open the link up here for this weird, name token. Okay, so no disrespect, to the token, but I don't know how to pronounce the name, so it is what it is. But with that being said, for this one, you can't add any text. It's not an open chat, so you guys know how I feel about that. It's not necessarily a terrible thing, but at the end of the day, like, why is the chat not open? I mean, and so there's sometimes you'll see where messaging is not allowed, but this says text is not allowed. So I have no idea what's going on here. Supposedly a CTO. You guys also know I've talked about CTOs before. A lot of them are garbage, but they do have some exceptions, where some teams actually do remarkably well, through CTOs. But but there are a lot of them that don't, so a lot of them do end up scamming you too. So just be aware of that. But with that being said, my clock, is at 5:20, and so the last buy that came in at 5:10. So that's right within that 10-minute, window where I want to go ahead and see a buy within 10 minutes, of what's on my clock. So, but obviously there's not going to be any raids, even if there was a raid, going and the chat was closed, it wouldn't say text not allowed if there was an active raid going on. Because sometimes communities will go ahead and close the chat just so the community can focus on the raid. But that's not the case here. So, and obviously no indication of any kind of trending going on. Even looking at their pin messages, they only have one pin message, so this is likely one that is an absolute skip for sure. So if this isn't a honeypot, this chart is going to come crashing down at some point. So, but with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close this one out. Not going to do anything with it. We're going to look here at Patrick, see what's going on in this particular token. So this looks like this is the main channel, so no portal to go ahead and go through. Not going to go ahead and join, but you can see that they've got a raid going, so they've only completed, one thing, and it is a small raid, as a matter of fact. So they only, well, I guess with the number of replies are always slow, I think, when it comes to raids. A lot of people, for some reason, don't like to go ahead and put in replies. So, but with that being said, you've got an X link here. They want people to go ahead and engage with that. That's what the raid's set up for. They need 9 replies, 10 likes, 4 bookmarks, and 1 repost, so yeah, I think it's a weird raid, actually, because typically you want to get, more reposts, more bookmarks, and more likes. It's typically send a bunch of replies, but I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. Either way, let's look to see when the last buy was, and that's going to be at 448. I mean, that's been almost 40 minutes ago. So this is going to be one that we're going to skip to because there's no activity here. And we should be able to see something here. So we can see here on the 5 minute, it's in the minus, the 1 hour's in the minus, again, so no real activity going on. And even though you get this 10 cents, which I actually do think this probably happened, recently, in the chat a lot of times in Telegram, I think you can set a delay, or not a delay, but you can set, when you want to have that buy bot trigger. And I think you can set it that it has to trigger over a certain amount on the buy. So a buy this small isn't really bullish, in a Telegram chat, so you'd want to see maybe them setting a threshold of $50, for any buy that's going to show up, in the Telegram chat. So this probably was, fairly, recent, but again, it's like no buy at all. But either way, we're going to go ahead and close this one. Now, here for Robin Trump, we're going to go ahead and check out. Nothing's happened here, since it retraced, since the last time we took a look at it. So let's see what they got going on in the channel. It does look like it's a CTO. They do have a portal verification, just over 220 members here in the chat. Last buy came in 3 minutes ago. So, and then we're looking, okay, so they got some votes coming in, and they're going through CTO trends. Okay, so, and I'm familiar, with CTO trends. I mean, sometimes they've got some decent stuff in there, but a lot of times they don't. So, building up a position here. Okay, so no evidence of any kind of raid, no evidence of any kind of trending going on, just a lot of pictures. Okay, and they're highlighting, that they're utilizing, voting, for the token, through CTO trends. All right, and nothing really going on there in the pin messages. So even for this one, I think this one's a skip too, for me personally, because there's really not much going on. All right, and then we've got Gang here. Let's take a look at the channel, see what they got going on. This one does not look like a CTO. Looks like just a regular, token. So just over 300 members, and looks like there's no channel to engage with on that one. So not sure if they just rugged it or what, but once I clicked it, you couldn't do anything. So this one we're going to leave alone. And remember, a lot of times when we're looking at these newer tokens, you're going to find that there's a high prevalence, of scams. So keep that in mind. But again, what we do in utilizing the filters is we want to go ahead and weed out the stuff that's no good, and then we want to try to uncover the stuff that looks like it's got potential, right? So we're going to go ahead and skip Gang as well. Just hold. Let's see this one. They got a small boost going on. Let's check the channel out, and we can still see some buy activity that was just coming in. So this buy just came in. Let's see here. They got a raid in progress. So the raid doesn't look too bad. They're looking for 10 bookmarks, 10 replies, 10 retweets, and 15 likes. They've got some activity going on because you can obviously see that, as evidenced here in the progress indicator. Good to see that there, but not seeing anything in regards to any kind of trending yet. So yeah, it looks like, just the raid, going on. They burned some tokens, but I don't really find that burns are like super bullish. They used to be, a while back, but people still burn because, again, burning does reduce supply, which, is also helpful. I think, a lot of times when people are doing those burns, the community would love to go ahead and get to a point of supply shock, which is basically, where you run out of tokens that are in circulation. And then a lot of times that leads to, big spike up on the chart, so, but yeah, with that being said, we're just going to go ahead and head back on over here. And I think for this one, we'll go and set some alerts. Let's set a couple of them. We're currently sitting at 118 according to the tab up here, 117. And here we go. So we'll do 117K. That's going to be our found market cap. And then on the over, we're going to go ahead and set it to 130K. And then on the under, okay, we're going to go to, I don't know, let's do 95K. All right, so there we go. So we've set our alerts. Remember, the alerts are indicators. They're going to let us know if anything's going on. That may lead to us coming back to investigate the chart and the community to see if, there's a potential position that we want to take. All right, now, as always, I always let you guys know, whenever encourage you guys to invest in this channel, but I do know that you guys are investing, or not investing, but in participating and taking in crypto-related content, which means, you're likely going to invest anyway. But either way, we still have to go ahead and make the disclaimer, during the video when we talk about trading. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and check this one out. Looks like they've got a boost going on. They paid for some ads as well. All right, so here we go. Okay, so right away we can see evidence of a raid. We're going to clear this out. So on the raid, it's a small one. I mean, they're looking for four bookmarks, 10 retweets, 6 comments, 10 likes. Well, not super small, but I mean, it's not massive either. But either way, we can see a buy just came in. This person is increasing their position. That's what we can see right there. But again, when we're looking at the buys, what do we want to see? We want to see new holders, right? So when was the last new holder on this one? Let's go ahead and let's go up. Okay, so we can see right here, new holder. Okay, that was at 526, so just a minute ago. All right, and let's see here. Let's take a look. I don't know. I didn't see anything in regards to trending. So still don't see anything trending wise. So, okay. So as far as pinned messages, they got a lot going on in here. Okay, so all right. And it's always good, in my personal opinion, to see teams that do find it important to communicate, through their pinned messages. We want to see that kind of activity. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's head back on out here. And this one, I mean, you got, minuses across, the 3 time frames in the 5 minute, 1 hour, and 6 hour. Not necessarily a good thing to see, especially since we're, I get it that they hit a peak up here. Remember what I've said about the peaks. Anytime you hit a peak, you're always going to see a corresponding, sell pressure, just because you're hitting the peak of your chart, right? So, but however, the question always remains, when you hit that sell pressure, how much sell pressure is going to be there before the chart starts to recover? So, and you can see here we had some recovery, but it was met with additional sell pressure, as well. So, and this kind of makes it a little iffy for people to decide to jump back in the water, in terms of making any kind of buys, because again, you don't want to make a pretty decent buy and then be slapped, with massive sell pressure, right? So this is where I think you may see, some small buys, if any buys do come in, and just to go ahead and see if the chart may start to head back up. And if it doesn't, then what happens? You'll probably go ahead and see lower, a lower area, hit, on this chart. So for this one, let's see here. I think it makes sense to set a couple of alerts. So we'll set an under and an over. All right, and even the buys that are coming in, like I said, you're not really seeing big buys come in because, again, this is kind of an iffy place on a chart to be. So let's see here. We're sitting at 230K. So we're going to go ahead and go straight to market cap. And we're going to put in 230K. All right, and let's do 250. Actually, I'm going to say 255. Want to start to really see it come out of this area. And on the under, or found market cap, and I think it could, if it does start to retrace pretty heavy, definitely I think it's going to go below 200. So that's my personal opinion. And we can see right here, pretty decent, sell. And again, you're getting larger sells and small buys. So, my first inclination here is to think this is going to retrace, pretty decently before it may come back up. And there's, again, no guarantee that it's going to come back up. Even though, look, they paid they have a 1000x boost going. The 500 alone is $4,000, so you can easily imagine they paid roughly around $8,000, for this boost, plus whatever the cost was for the ads. And I've said it before, the boosts are not some magic pill to move a token forward. They're just not. You need to do a number of things in complement to it. And it's more work, I believe these days to go ahead and move a token forward. I mean, so you're talking about shilling, you're talking about callers, you're talking about the ads, the boosts, you're talking about trending, you're talking about, just doing some other things, even when you're talking about ads here, I mean, it's not just one set ads. I mean, I think you actually want to go to other places to get additional ads, to get the token as much exposure as possible. So yeah, unless there's just a really nice sentiment, behind the token. But yeah, so that's what I think in terms of, the 2 alerts that have been set. We'll see if those trigger. For Binance here, this one looks like this is probably going to be going down. So I'm going to leave this one alone. We're looking at SMS here, seal, money spread. Even this one, and I've said, what I say early in the video, I said today is a red day. It's a red day in crypto. It just is. And so on top of that, you combine it with the fact that we're on a weekend slower. There's more sell pressure typically on weekends. The volume across the blockchain is typically less. So, all of that combined just leads to a lot of what we're seeing. We got a lot of tokens that are in the red. And again, when we see that Bitcoin's, in the red, and we see that a lot of the blue chips are in the red, the same thing's going to happen, for your altcoins. It's a corresponding fact that has happened time and time again, within crypto, that when the big boys, are in the red, everybody else is in the red. So you got to have some conviction for the tokens that you think, actually have potential, regardless of their retracement. That could be an opportunity to go and pick up tokens at a discount, pick up more, to increase your position if you believe that, hey, the team behind is solid, and that it may go up, when the market recovers, so. But we'll take a look at this one, either way. Let's see what's going on in the Telegram. Okay, so we get a verification portal. Great. All right, so just over 590 members in the community. And so yeah, I think that's kind of a cool, image here. Very cool. Buys are still coming in. We can see that, there, which is a positive sign. We don't get anything here in the pinned messages, so. And sometimes I go ahead and I close out the Telegram just to go ahead and see if maybe I'm missing something out, but I'm not going to go and do that right now. But we don't see anything going on in terms of any kind of trending or a raid, either, so. I mean, just seems like maybe people are just following the buys here because there seems to be, some level of volume there, because that's typically what people do. They follow buys and they follow sells, so we're going to go ahead and head back on out here. And let's see here. So, and I mean, the buys pretty decent, actually, so, but here in the minuses, we got a minus 46 here on the 46 hour. We're not on the 40, what am I talking about? The 6 hour. Okay, and so with that being said, we also have a small boost going on. So for this one, a couple of alerts, make sense, so sitting at 193 according to the tab up here. So we're going to go straight to market cap, and I'm going to put in 193K. That's our found market cap. And then we're going to move this to, I don't know, let's move it to 140K. We'll see if it triggers on the underside, and then on the over. And we're going to do 215 to actually 220. 220K on that. Okay, so, and I've addressed this before. Some people kind of wonder, like, how do you know what number do you put in, for the over and the under? Again, you can either copy my alerts, or you can change it up, as you see fit on your own. But for me, there's no, real good answer for this. I tend to think that every token gives you a different set of things to look at. They're all different, and so you have to set the number based on what you see and what you think, so based on what I was seeing in the community and the buy pressure, my deviation, from the found market cap can be greater, it can be less, so for this one, I said, we found it at 193. The over trigger is going to be set at 220, so it's not like a massive deviation from the found market cap. I want you to remember that the alerts, are indicators. They give us an idea, of not necessarily giving us an idea, but they are our eyes. Okay, they're the eyes on the chart when we're not babysitting it. So if I want to go ahead and set this at maybe, since we found it 193, and I want to set it at, I don't know, 210. Okay, because I don't want the chart to move too far from the found market cap. Again, keep in mind when it triggers, let's say you decide to go and jump in. What happens if there's like a massive, amount of sells that take place at that point? So again, it's an indicator. You don't necessarily use it to go ahead and be like, okay, it triggered, let me just go and jump right in. Maybe there are some instances where that makes sense, but a lot of times I tend to think that when they trigger, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the chart, and then I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, what's the chart looks like? If it looks okay, I can see that maybe it looks like it's going to continue to move in the upward pattern or downward pattern. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is just take a minute to check out, the Telegram. A lot of people tend to get, really in this mindset where it's like, I gotta rush. If let's say you waited 20 minutes, okay, this thing is not going to move a million, percent, in 20 minutes. It's just not going to do it. Even at 220K, it's not going to move to 700K. I mean, in a lot of instances, in 20 minutes. And even if it does, let's say that this token, moves to, at a peak, gets to 100 million. I know that's a wild scenario, but let's say that it does. What's it going to matter if you did your own due diligence to just look, for another 5 or 10 minutes just to make sure that, you're making a sound decision in terms of the position you want to take, should you decide to do that? So, I mean, in that time that you take to go ahead and make that additional assessment, the chart could actually tank, from 220 to 100K. And if that's the case, then guess what? Now, instead of you losing a bunch of money, because you decided to go and jump in prematurely, you've now gone ahead and gotten a better position, and then you can kind of go from there. So again, it's not always best to go ahead and rush. In fact, one of the worst mistakes you can make a lot of times is rushing, into a token because you think that, hey, you need to rush. You just don't need to. All right, so we're going to go ahead and close this one out since we've already gone ahead and set some alerts on that one. Give me one moment, guys. I'll be right back. All right, so the next one we're going to go ahead and talk about is going to be fart day. I really, really thought we were done with the farting meta. I thought we were done with this meta, but again, apparently we're not done with it. And I really just don't understand people's interest in this. But either way, it's crypto, so we're going to go ahead and talk about it. So with that being said, we got some buys coming in. The chart doesn't look terrible. I'm going to check out the channel. They got a small boost going on. This apparently originated from Pump Fund. You can see that, here, according to their banner. So guys, so based on what I saw in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and make a cut, on this one. But based on what I saw in the chat, this token can't be serious. It just can't be, So they were looking like, I saw at one point they were looking for like 2,000 comments, in their raid. So either way, for this one, if anybody wants to go ahead and keep up with it, fine, feel free. As I've told you guys before, you can always go ahead and just copy this information right here, go over, search it, and then just match up some of the data, here on the right-hand side, based on what you see in the search. So yeah, but this one, we're going to leave this one alone. And here, this one, it looks like it's kind of trading sideways, but not any real activity. I don't think it's going to be worth our time. Nothing going on here in the 5-minute, and we're almost at minus 60% on the 1 hour. So this one's definitely a no for me. We're going to adjust, our filters, one more time. We're going to go at 300. Remember, when you highlight, here in these values, it doesn't stick. So you just need to use the backspace. So, all right. And then we're going to go to 500. Okay. So we'll see what we get. All right. So just a few tokens actually, so we're going to go ahead and open these up. Tariff and Super Bowl. Okay. Let's see what the charts look like and see if they got anything going on. As far as a community that we can engage with, so, all right, so here's the 15-minute, let's look at the 5-minute. This doesn't look too bad, so we'll keep this one. Pain, and this was Cardi, so let's look at the, okay, this one doesn't look too bad, but unfortunately we don't get a telegram on this one. Tariff here, okay, so we get a telegram. Let's see what the 15-minute looks like. Okay, if everything checks out, in the channel, then what I'll do is I'll make sure that we just set an under alert, on this one based on what the candle is. And then here, this is another NFL Super Bowl token. I did say that we'll probably start to see some of these, popping up. This one's sitting at almost 500,000, on the market cap, so they do get a telegram here. This is not likely going to be the last, Super Bowl themed token that we're going to see. Like I said, I'm sure we're going to see more of these as we get closer to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to take a look at these three, see what's going on. This one's got they got ads running, and they've also got a boost going too. So okay, so with that being said, we got a raid going, looking for 5 bookmarks, 10 retweets, 20 comments, and 40 likes. Great. So And they're making some progress, according to the progress indicator here, which is good to see. Looking for any trending going on. I don't see any trending yet. Okay, and with some of the stuff, especially when you're days out from an event, it doesn't make any sense to go and do, waste your money, because it's going to happen inevitably. What's going to happen is you're going to get that short-term crowd. They're going to come in, they're going to go and get their 2x, they're going to leave. And then what have you done? You basically spent money to get some short-term exposure, which makes absolutely no sense. So if they're going to go ahead and do trending, in my personal opinion, depending on, and I can't speak for the team or whatever, but if they're going to do trending, I think trending makes more sense to do it closer to the day of the event. So maybe like the 7th or the 8th, February, as opposed to doing it here out on the 2nd. They just want to kind of see, I think, what kind of exposure they can get right now. And people that are in it, right now will obviously make some money, but it doesn't make any sense to spend a bunch of marketing money when you are this far out from the event. Okay, so a lot of buys, buy bot is going bananas, obviously, and this is the pain. This is the pain bot, or the pain token. So even though I was talking about, the Super Bowl, one, obviously I was not talking about the right token because I was in the wrong token. So, but either way, for this one, we can see they got the raid going. We can see they got trending going. Now it says 1:39 p.m. on the clock here, and this has been several hours ago. So they said they were number 7. Let's see if pain is still on the leaderboard. So not seeing pain on the leaderboard. So that their trending already expired, so we're going to go ahead and head back on out. So here we go. And, okay, so for this one, they've got a pretty decent, boost going on. I mean, they have paid, you got to think, if a 500 boost is $4,000, they probably easily, dumped almost 20 grand, and just to the boost and into the boost, which is crazy. Because again, I think there are better ways to go ahead and spend your money in regards to marketing than just dumping a bunch of it into boosts. Because boosts, boosts sometimes they're helpful, but a lot of times they're not. They're short-term exposure, and sometimes they don't even bring in a lot of volume, so I think it's really, really tricky to decide that you want to spend money in a boost, when it's not really guaranteed to give you a good return on the investment. So with that being said, I think this one makes sense to go ahead and set 2 alerts, an over and an under. So we will do that. This one's sitting at 461 according to the tab. So, all right, so 461 is going to be our found market cap. All right, and then for the market cap here on the over, we're going to go ahead and put this one at 485. Okay, 45K. And then on the under, let's go ahead and let's do 400K. I need to also adjust this to put K. Okay, so there's that, and then I need to edit this one to put the K in there. There we go. So we're going to close this one out, and this one's still on the move. They're Dexscreener hot pairs number 18. I'm going to take a look at the channel, see what they got going on here. This is a CTO. Okay, so this is the actual channel. No portal to enter. Okay, so this one's got over 60 members, here, no evidence of a raid, no evidence of any kind of trending. So not really sure what's really driving the buys, other than, just people following the green candle. So I think this one's coming down, and I think it's going to be a pretty decent, retracement from where it is. So we're sitting at 625. This one sings, the tab sings 647. So we're going to say 647 and under 647. Okay, and I actually think we're going to set this at 550 because I do believe there's just going to be heavy retracement on this one because there's nothing driving the buys other than hot pairs. That's it. So, okay, so with that being said, we're going to go over here to the Super Bowl token, and we're going to check out their channel, see what we got going on. Right away, we can see evidence of a raid. Okay, and so 15, let's see here. Looking for 15 replies, 15 retweets, and 15 likes. Okay, so good activity there. Trending, let's see if they're on the leaderboard. Okay, so Super Bowl meme, yep. So there they are. So we're going to go, oops, that's not what we're going to. Sorry about that, guys. Where's the Super Bowl token? Did we not join that channel? Sorry about that. Let's do this. Okay, so yeah, I didn't join because there was no portal. Okay, either way, let's see here. So they got Sol trending, so it looks like they're double trending if this is correct. So we're going to see if they're 17 on the leaderboard here. Yep, they are. So yeah, double trending. You don't always see that, but it's good to see that they're doing that. Additional exposure. But again, it's kind of early. Like I said before, when we were in the pain token, I was talking about, a better use, of your marketing funds. If you're going to be trending, I think, trending and spending, unless you just got the budget to do it, trending right now when you're so far away, you're still a week out from the Super Bowl. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense, but again, it's if you got in pretty early, it's helpful because obviously you're making some money. But either way, we're going to check out the pinned messages here. Okay, so this is obviously, forwarded, from another channel that was shilling the token, to their community. Okay. And so yeah, I mean, they got some stuff going on here, in their pinned messages, which is always helpful to see that communication. But we're going to head back on out, and I think it makes sense to set 2 alerts on this one. So this is saying 511, this is saying 513. We're going to go with 513 on the found market cap. So there we go, 513K on the over. We're going to go ahead and set this one at 530. And then on, oops, let me create the alert. And then on the under, oops, 513. I didn't copy that, did I? On the under, we're going to set this at 490K. Okay. Actually, I think what we're going to do, we're going to set this at 450 because I think this is coming down at some point. Just like we saw with the other one, at some point it's going to come down. And for me personally, if I was going to take a position on this, I wouldn't be in a rush. I actually think it'll probably even retrace lower, than 450. I think it could probably get back to like 400, sub 400 level on this one. But we'll have to just go ahead and wait and see. I don't think it's going to happen today, but I think it's going to happen, but that's just my own personal opinion. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and close this one out, and I think that's going to do it for us today in regards to today's video. So thanks so much for watching. As always, guys, if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure that you go ahead and consider doing so. You'll be able to at least take advantage of those community broadcasts when I'm communicating to anybody that's subscribed to the channel. And you'll also be able to benefit from those notifications when new content is released to the channel as well. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed your weekend, and I hope you guys have a great start to the coming week ahead. I'll see you on the next video.